Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I am Kari the Mortician. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for joining. So I do a coffee with Kari, yum, with me, and I just answer any questions you want to throw at me about the funeral business, about cemeteries, crematories, grave markers, you name it, anything that's remotely connected to the funeral business. Throw those questions at me. So we're diving in. See, you guys are joining. Welcome. Hello, Anya. I think you're in Russia. Christine, hello in KZoo. I'm headed there in about, I don't know, an hour. So crazy. You're right there. But welcome, everybody. It is a gross, nasty, cold, snuggly day here. So I don't know what the weather's like. We're not going to chat weather because that's boring. But it is cold here and I just want to snuggle in. So our first question that someone had posted to me was about animals and pets. And people really are concerned for their animals. It's like one of two ways. One, people don't even think about it, or they're so in tune with their animals needing to grieve and be part of the loss of their person that it sometimes can go over the top, but it is not a bad thing. So when a master owner dies and they are removed, the pet may not understand why their owner went away. They may pace and feel abandoned. If they can smell that their owner is dead, I believe that they get it and accept it. Is it possible for a person to make provisions for their animal to say goodbye before they're removed from the funeral home or by the funeral home? If not, can they be brought to the funeral home for visitation? So I've done some videos on this. I actually interviewed a veterinarian about animals and grief and kind of what studies have been done and things. And it's really phenomenal how animals react. That smell to them means so much. So they can sense as soon as somebody dies that death has happened. I mean, look at all of the stories of nursing home cats where they have cats that wander around and the cats end up going and hanging out in the rooms of people who are about to die. Like they can sense the change in the person's body. I don't think that they sense death is imminent in this big, I don't know, crazy thing. I think they can sense the smell change that is occurring. So I think it's super important for animals to see somebody when they've died. So if I go to a home for a removal and I know that there's animals, I will ask, has the animal seen them since they have died? If they haven't, I'll encourage that to happen, because if the animal can come in and see the person, they will understand what's happening and they won't do that searching pattern as much. They won't go hunting the house for them. They'll understand that they have died and their spirit or whatever is gone. However, I've also seen where dogs get really territorial. Cats do, but dogs are more aggressive with it, where they won't let you touch the person because they're like, you're not taking my human, like you're not taking them out of this house. So that has also been a situation I've encountered. So, but the funeral home does allow, or at least every funeral home I've really encountered will allow animals to come in to see their loved one. Maybe not during the public time, but during a private time that you can set up and have them come in. My experience has been kind of both sides of the coin. I've had animals kind of get up on the edge of the casket. Well, I'll put a chair with some towels on it up, and they'll get up and they'll whimper. Or as soon as they get up there, they don't want to be anywhere near it. They don't want to be anywhere near that person. It's like they know instantly, and they're over it. Yeah, get away, get away. So it's interesting to watch animals respond to death. So good morning, everybody. You guys are awesome. Welcome, welcome. Can you keep your loved one in your house? Certainly. For how long, Carol, are you talking? Captain Lee took my dog to my husband's visitation. It helped her and me. Before, she barked every day at times he was supposed to come home from work. Yeah, animals just know routine. And if someone is taken out of their routine, it throws them off, possibly forever. Yeah, so thank you guys. So the video that posted last night with Brian, Ryan, and John, I swear to goodness, I had one glass of wine and I felt like I came across as I was like wasted or something. I laughed so hard filming with those guys. We were supposed to film a second one right after, and I wasn't able to. I had to end it because of my kids were up doing something, and I had to go tend to them. So I was kind of bummed because I wanted to get the next one since we were in such a good rapport at that moment. I can't even imagine what the next one would have been like, but we're gonna do more of those because it is a good. That mixes a good group. We have one more person to add in too, so there'll maybe be 5 of us for the next one, but it's fun. Those topics, they have no idea what I'm going to throw at them, and we just kind of off the cuff talk about things. So if you have a fun topic you think would be fun for us to talk about in one of our Beer with the Boys chats, let me know. We truly love, and Brian went completely sideways with the raccoon comment. Last night after the video posted, I sent them in a group text a message and said, hey, the video's up, and every like little gif that I could find with like gloves and raccoons I was sending to them, we were laughing quite a bit. So they are hilarious. So thank you guys for support on that one. Those are videos that are fun to do because they're more lighthearted for us than, talking about murder and all of that. Those are great too, but it's fun to do the other side and for that to be appreciated. Is it okay for my aunt to be buried on top of my grandma and grandpa? You can typically put 2 people on one grave space, as long as one is cremated. Hello in Australia. David, you're in your classroom. I hope you're not like mortuary school or something at Cincinnati. They're going to like ban me or something. My babies look so unreal when they were laying flat on their backs. Have you ever had a viewing with a child where you position them differently? No, because laying on their side, it doesn't look comfortable either. It's like putting an adult. Somebody asked the other day if we can put someone on their side for viewing, kind of like we would sleep. The problem is the way that we react when we lay, we can't force a body to do some of that. So you're going to end up just going like on your side, and it looks uncomfortable. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look comfortable. Same with the baby. They're just going to kind of be folded in half like a taco, and it's not going to look good. It's going to look even more unnatural. So putting them almost, rather than on their back, maybe in like a little bucket swing thing, or in some other type of positioning or viewing scenario is probably going to be the best bet for them. Hey, Eli family. I heard that you can keep your loved one in your casket because I heard some guy had lost one in a coffin in his house. I don't know what, like he lost one. I don't understand what that means, but yes, you can bring your loved one home and have a home viewing. It's very traditional in some countries. In Ireland, it's very common to do a wake at your house. In America, it's not as common, but you can definitely do that. So good morning, Kari. Good morning, everybody. I just love good morning. Good morning. It's nice to just like gather with you guys together, even though I'm not seeing you and you're just seeing me, which is kind of weird that this is normal now. I still have my husband's cremated remains. It will be 5 years in January. I'm keeping him till I go so I can be added and my sons have us. Yeah, as long as your family, that's the big thing with cremated remains, guys. If you bring somebody home, always make the next step plan. What is step 2 plan? After you go, who's going to deal with who you brought home? Because if there's no way to deal with them, you need to deal with them while you're here. So it's making not just that first step, but the two-step scenario there going. So When we arranged my mom's funeral here in Pennsylvania, the funeral director let us put 2 boxes of cremated remains with her dogs in the casket. They weren't concerned about commingling. Yeah, most places aren't anymore. It used to be weird laws and things that existed, but a lot of places don't worry about it. I saw a video on YouTube where someone visits graves. He visited one where a lady was buried in a rocking chair. How does that work? You would just get a vault poured in a different shape to place them down in. If you look up, there's been people buried in cars and all sorts of odd scenarios in like plexiglass containers. There's a guy on a motorcycle that's buried sitting up on his motorcycle. Thank you, Reginald. I appreciate that. No, nobody can sit up even if they're not embalmed, guys. Nobody sits up when they're dead. Physically impossible to happen. Hey, JW. Yeah, Katie, so I decided I haven't done an actual coffee with Kari where it's morning where I am, and I'm actually drinking coffee in a while. So I had a little time this morning. I thought, you know what? I'll pop on. It won't be a long one today. Just a short little coffee with Kari. Throw me some good questions, you guys. Throw me some good questions. Belinda, check out my video from last night with the Beer with the Boys where we talk about paranormal, or go watch my video explaining my one big paranormal experience that I had at the funeral home. When I was a child, we had viewings in the yard of our apartment complex so everyone could say goodbye. That would be a lot. Like leaving to go to the grocery store and there's like a visitation going on. Has moving affected your freelancing? No, Desiree. Actually, the place that I work at the most, I am now 20 minutes closer. That has been a big, big change for me, is gaining, 45 minutes essentially of drive time some days back into my life. So that has been really good. And they are down some directors, and it's such an upswing of death right now. So it's been good that I've been close because I've been working there a lot. I have hardly been at home in my home office. I don't know the last time I've really sat at this desk aside from doing my last live video to get some stuff done. So I've been really focused on just doing work and not as much on kind of checking in with you guys and chronicling what I'm doing, because there's been so much to do. So once I'm in the routine, you get to work, I dive in. I'm best. I think my strongest skill is diving in and multitasking with as many families as I can handle, and paperwork and phone calls and meeting with people and doing that kind of stuff, because I can handle, I feel like, a lot in that area. And when there's so many families going on, and we do have quite a few COVID deaths, vaccinated and unvaccinated, and then the families that were exposed. And so we've gone back to having to do some drive-through signing of paperwork because we can't meet with the families in person. So some of that is all coming back right now, where we're having to do remote arrangements and drive-through meeting people and stuff again. And so that does take more effort, because rather than sit down and accomplish everything in 2 hours, it's a lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Not a bad thing. It just is very different than the normal flow of how things work. So definitely has been a change with all of that. Why do they use those locks to lock a coffin on the end where the feet are? On the end of the casket, you lock it to, if it's on the end where the feet are, it's a metal casket. The wood caskets lock in the middle of each side piece. And you lock it just so the lid is secured. JW, what's in the water in Michigan? That school shooting is crazy. Yeah, it's horrific. So we had a school shooting here in Michigan. I think 4 kids died was the total that it's been up to. So that's been, it's hitting close to home. It's not near me really. It's on the other side of the state, but it's scary. And for those funeral directors, that's horrific for them going through all those actions and working with those families. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. Do they suture women's breasts together? This is bizarre to me. Yes, a lot of embalmers do suture the breasts together. They don't leave the suture in, most of them. It's just for the embalming process until the breast's firm. Otherwise, the breasts are going to be down in your armpits here if they're of a certain size, or they're going to be completely flattened and some of that tissue is still in your armpits. Just lay down. Any woman, go lay down. Where are your breasts? They're over here. They're flattened and they're over here. So we've got to put them up so that they have some roundness and fullness to them. Some funeral directors will use duct tape to hold them up. Some will use like a clamp where you hook in one and hook in the other and hold them together. Most will suture. I don't know if most is the answer, but yep, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. They're dead. They're not feeling it. I know it's horrible sound for us living women, for breasts, but they're not feeling it. Are you scared when they embalm the bodies? Because I'm scared around the dead bodies. Not even a little bit. They're dead. Zero to be scared about around dead people. Nothing to be scared about. David, I have several videos on walking through an actual embalming. There's one where I'm on the table as the dead person, but I don't use bodies. I will not show bodies. It's illegal, highly illegal. It's just ethically and morally and everything. Do you deal with a lot of tissue gas cases? At work recently, we've had a ton of people with tissue gas. Katie, yes, it's becoming more and more of a problem. I think as germs are heightened, things get passed easier, and people are, more deaths in the hospital. And that's where we see nasty tissue gas a lot. Hey, Rick, welcome. Go Cubbies and Bears. The Bears are my fave. My healthy husband died one day after getting a COVID vaccine. Death certificate says accidental overdose because opioids for an old injury. How is this legal? Well, they would have drawn levels of toxicology, and if he had an overdose of opioids, then that would be the cause of death. Yes, Pam, the dead can't hurt you, the living can. I'm way more fearful of the living. Hello, Margaret. Quick question, maybe I'm doing it wrong. I called the funeral home and asked them to mail me a price list. They said they'd set up a meeting to go over it and give it to me, but wouldn't pop it in the mail. So you can walk in the front door and ask for one. If they do not hand it over readily, then they are breaking the law. If you're in America, every country doesn't have this. But if they require you to sit down with them, they are breaking the law. They cannot ask for your name, your phone number, anything. On my family's land, we have an old cemetery that hasn't been used in many, many years. Do you think it's worth looking into to see if it can still be used in the event of my death? That would be super cool, Ainsley. Where do you live? Like where, not like your address, but where in the world are you, I guess? Carol, it's very common that people are scared of the dead. We're scared of what we don't understand and what we don't know. And you won't understand death until you die. It's just pretty simple. But we get these fears of the dead, I think, from movies and what things are said to us and kind of what we're around when we're younger. So it's very common that we're scared of dead bodies. It really is. In Middle Georgia. Yeah, I would look into it. Call your township or city or whoever, depending if you live in the country or where you live, and see if they have any records. And then look into seeing if there's any plot maps of it. Hey, plumber guy, thank you. You have a good weekend too. I need an electrician. Anybody an electrician? All of a sudden, a whole bunch of plugs in my house won't work. I've flipped all the switches. So this morning and I don't know why I'm opening my mail right now. Have you guys ever just randomly, like your hands are doing something, you don't even know why? Yeah, a bunch of plugs are not working this morning. It's home ownership at its best. Have you ever picked up a body in a situation where you had reason to fear handling the body, or were in a special situation where additional steps were necessary to protect you from the body? I think we went through a lot of this in the beginning of COVID, where we were taking heightened precautions. If someone has MRSA, we make sure their face is covered. If someone has like Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, take a lot of extra precautions. Yeah, if they're very decomposed, we want to make sure that skin's not coming off or maggots aren't falling all over, things like that. Sometimes though, we may get there and they may be already in a body bag. So it just depends on the situation. How do you deal with difficult questions at work? Recently, we had a young child's visitation and the family was asking what the mark under the chin was from the suture, and I didn't know how to reply. Katie, the honest to goodness, they just want the honest answer. To me, talking to families, think about how you talk to a child in terms of simplicity. Simple answers. Don't over talk it because you're uncomfortable talking about it, which is where a lot of people get in trouble. Because if we're asked something and we're uncomfortable, we end up just talking. And you say too much and you talk yourself into a hole. If they say, what is that mark under the chin? That is from the suture, from whatever. If it was from the autopsy, say where the autopsy incision was, that's where we had to suture that up and just explain. They're going to know that they had an autopsy, or they're going to know whatever. It's not shocking, but it answers their question. So honest to goodness, just answer the simple question. I feel like there's not a lot of crazy questions anymore because at this point, I feel like I've heard a lot of them, including can we get their semen for babies, which was a video recently. So yeah, simplicity is honestly the best answer. Good night, Belinda. I'm trying to get the cemetery to locate my grandfather's grave. They never got back to me. My father passed away in the 1940s. They should have records. Yeah, they should have records. The grave's not marked, Damien, at all. Avalanche, you just put them you would put them in a body bag. And then you can leave. I mean, there may be maggots and things that are left, but you can put them in a body bag. Hey, Dana. Hello in West Virginia. Ever on a body pickup and your vehicle broke down with the body in the back? No. Don't put that out there in the world. Whereabouts does the blood come out of the body? It depends on where your incision is made. So wherever your incision is made is where your blood will come out. Hey, Catherine. Hello. Damien. Yeah, they should have records. What part of the country are you in, though? I watched my mom die gasping for air. Sounded exactly like snoring. I wake up panicking every time now that I hear my husband or kids snoring. Oh, Amy, that's hard. It's hard watching. I have not seen anybody the final end. I have seen people near the end. And sometimes when they're challenged, that breathing becomes really challenged. That's hard for us. Or they're kind of gurgling because they're not able to swallow as much. That's hard for us to watch that happen, because if it was in us, we would want, the clarity of our airway, and we would want, those things to go away. So do they really use muscle rub cream for bodies? No, I don't know anybody who's muscle rub cream. No, I've never opened a body bag and had maggots pour everywhere. Reginald, you're so welcome. I love giving enough behind the scenes exposure without being graphic or gory or invading anybody's privacy. At least that's my full intent of what I do. Hey, Desiree, have a good day. Hello in Canada. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so Damien, Pennsylvania. Yeah, they should have records that they could give you so that you can find that grave space. I would just go over there. Is it a township? If it's like a private cemetery or if it's a township or city, that's going to change a little bit about what they have. And, you know, if it's a township or a kind of a country cemetery, it could get a little more sketch as to what they have for records. I once worked with a cemetery, and the guy that had ran the cemetery for years, they had to clean out his truck because he would write all the names and locations on these pieces of paper and stuff them in places all over the truck. So it was quite an adventure trying to find everything after he died. So funeral home and cemetery. It should all be all in the same records. It should have, I don't know. We don't have funeral homes in our cemeteries here. So, hey, Bryce, I was actually thinking about you because I'm wearing my boots. They're not motorcycle boots, but he calls them that, tomorrow night. So got a Christmas party or something, and that's just what I'm wearing. But I thought about you because I haven't worn those in a while. Hey, plumber guy. You're so sweet. Oh, God be with you. Drains are my nightmare. That is one of my top fears in life. And the prep room drain. Oh, golly. Yeah, that's a rough one because that's a lot of nasty that goes down there. Let me know how that goes. We had a plumbers come in once to like roto-root the drain. I don't know if every country has roto-rooter, but that's kind of like a big like plumbing drain company. And they found scalpels down there and instruments and all sorts of stuff down in the drain. Yeah, golly. Oh, plumber guy. Yeah. We are studying today as a class for our boards. Katie, I can't believe you're graduating already. Oh my gosh. No study tips. Honestly, everybody studies so differently for everything. So it's really hard to give advice to other people how to study. Rephrase questions, mix things up, write things down and read them aloud. Really just change up scenarios. It's so much harder, I think, now to take the boards because when I took them, it was paper. So you could move through and answer the ones you knew and then go back. But now when it's on the computer, it's a lot harder to do that. I was thinking of this one day and I'm like, man, I would be much more challenged taking the test now than then just because of the style and how you guys take it. Good luck. Let me know how it goes. If you guys need like a little Zoom pep talk or anything, let me know. I'm happy to pop on. You can get me on FaceTime or something and I'll do a cartwheel or something. Whatever you need, just let me know. Oh, goodness. Can you go to the funeral home to see your loved one's body before they're put in a casket? Because I seen that in the funeral home. You can. It just depends, like why you would want to do that. A lot of funeral homes want to show you their final presentation of the person and not have you seen the person along the process. They want to show you them in that final stage. So a lot of them will ask you if you can wait, but we do get people who just really want to see their loved one because maybe they were out of town or whatever it is. So, all right. One last, Tony, I'm going to grab yours. I'm unsure what I want to happen to my body after I passed. I've done some research, but still have no idea what I want. Any advice? Tony, sit down. Who is your immediate next of kin? Sit down and have a conversation with them. Say, what will help you when I'm gone? What do you need immediately after my death? Do you need to see me? Are you comfortable with cremating me? Are you comfortable with burying me? Yes, it's about your wishes, But they are the ones that have to plan it out. They're the ones that have to do it. They're the ones that have to continue on after you've died. They're the ones that have to be comfortable with it. So it's your death, but it's not all about you, is the big picture when it comes to this. That's why when people ask what I want for myself, it's really not about me. Like, what do my kids need? What do my family need? What do they want to happen? Because I'm gone. And it's really about their comfort level. Because if I say, just cremate me, don't do anything, will that help them? Will that be what they need to move on in a healthy way for the rest of their life? Because they're the ones that have to be here and continue on, not me. So take it from that approach, maybe, Tony, and see. Well, thank you guys. This one's a little shorter, but I'll tune in again next week with you on a coffee chat. I'm not sure which day yet. I'll just pop up. I'm like a bad penny. Here I am. But thank you guys. And send me emails with questions. You guys are now asking a whole bunch of good questions. I'm going to just take a screenshot of these so I can touch base on them next week. Whoop. Somebody remind me I took a picture on my phone. And I'll answer some of those next week because you guys are asking really good questions right now. But I have a really tight agenda today. So thank you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.